This is the first real test of the A&J flotation apple dumper. It's been run for about 10 hours in parts individually, but this is the first time with water and the whole thing in operation. First bin is coming in now. As you can see, it waited before the rollers waited to start for about 6 seconds to let the forklift get away. It's coming forward now, and it's going to hit the apple pusher and shove it down. When it passes over that, the pusher will come back up and shove it right onto the forklift, because the forklift is at the top. When it gets to the forklift, you'll notice that the apple hold down bar comes down and squeezes the bin to the forklift so it cannot float. Now the bin has to go into the water slowly to fill from the bottom. If it does not go in slowly, it will try to float. An apple bin has a tremendous amount of lift. We recommend that you take about 20 to 24 seconds to go to the bottom, and do not set the air pressure on the hold down cylinder at more than 110 pounds, or you may crush some weak bins. As you can see, the forklift is going down slowly, and it is all adjustable with a flow control. It's just off the main valve. The apples are floating out and going down the system. As you can see, if you look just above the apples, there's a bit of ice. This morning it was 5 degrees Fahrenheit. I think that's what, 15, 18 below in Celsius. Coldest night of the winter. There, the flume now is full. And that is 20 bushels of apples, well, about 22 bushels of apples in the flume. As you can see, the water was too high in the flume, but we did that for testing purposes. The second bin is now being set on the rollers, and the rollers will start in approximately 6 seconds, and the bin will come up, running over the push lever, but will stop just before it gets to the forklift, because the forklift now is at the bottom, because the apple eye sees the apples that are in the flume. The bin is now stopped, or will stop, and wait for the forklift to come up. We'll go around and start the lifting chain up and remove a few apples, and then that apple eye will not see apples for 15 seconds, and the forklift will come up and we'll start the whole procedure again. There the apples are going up the lifting chain in a nice fashion. That can be adjusted faster and slower. Here comes the forklift up. When it gets to the top, after it stops several times to let water out of the bin, you will notice that the apple hold down lever, or the bin hold down lever, will retract, and the bin will be swept onto the outbound rollers. These outbound rollers will stop while the bin is being swept on. The hold down retracts and the bin comes out, and as soon as the push sweep arm retracts, you will see that the rollers start up and the bin is carried away from the mounting area. The outbound rollers continue to run even after the bin gets to the end, and the bin will just slip on the rollers. Here comes the second bin onto the forklift now. You'll see that it will be held down as soon as it gets completely in, and the pusher retracts, and then it will start to go down slowly. We had filled the flume with water, so we think that about 3 to 4 inches from the top will be the right amount, but depending on the size of your apples, this is a variable. You'll just have to test to see where it should be. The flume and the lift chain hold slightly over 40 bushels of apples. So 2 bins can be put into the flume at one time. As you can see, the water flow, which is adjustable by changing pulleys, is filling the lift chain the way it is now. This is the polishing brushes. The apples are coming off the lift chain and flowing down the ramp, which when it is completed will be covered with a piece of belting to absorb some of the shock. But as you can see, the apples come off in a relatively uniform fashion. This aids your sizer in doing a better job, so it's not having to do them all in one spot. We will now speed the lift chain up to its maximum speed and watch the flow. It is now running at maximum speed, and as you can see, the polisher just keeps putting out the apples evenly on both sides. If you find that you need to even the flow out more, the polisher can be leaned one way or the other, but usually 1/4 to 1/2 inch is a maximum on that. That is maximum speed. I doubt if you ever get near that speed other than when you're filling your tanks in the morning. You can see the apples are evenly spaced, waiting to come up the lift chain. When the apples are completely removed from the tank area of the flume, the apple eye will start looking for apples. When it sees no apples for 15 seconds, the forklift will come up. That time can be adjusted on the apple eye. As you can see, the apples are floating around in a little eddy current just away from the forklift under the rollers. These eddy currents occur because there's a corner coming up. You may want to move the apple eye a little bit further over into the flow, but we found this to be never a problem unless the machine is going to have to do a bin every 2 minutes or even a little faster. It just gives you more safety that you've never brought apples up with the bin. When the forklift comes up, it will stop to let water out, so the bin arrives at the top empty. The first stop should be about now. And as you can see, the apples are proceeding around, filling up the lift chain. The lift chain should stay full of apples, but there may be a slight gap on it because when the bin starts up, it pulls water back with it. The bin is stopped for the second time. The hold down bar is up. The sweep arm pushes it off, and the cycle starts again. If there were another bin in place, the forklift would receive a bin and the whole cycle would start over again. As you can see, the rollers started up and they will take the bin down. If the bins are not removed when the outfeed gets full, the forklift will not come back up because it has nowhere to deposit a bin, so it stays on the bottom. So you have to take the bins off the outfeed before it gets full. The lift chain is running wide open as fast as it will go. The machine has now done a complete cycle. We'll run it for another 3 or 4 hours to make sure there are no bugs in the program, which were checked before with the system empty. So as you can see, the system does work. This is a tried and true machine because it's the third one we've built that it looks like this. The only difference in this machine and the other machines are their dimensions. Thank you very much.